Today I'm going to show you how to make some really cute stud earrings using these molds and resin. First, you just fill about 1/3 of the way full on each mold with clear resin. Using a dropper is easier because these molds are very, very tiny, and I'm using 2 separate ones of the same type. Fill them with different dried flowers. These I'm using tiny little whole flowers. And then some of them I'm going to be tearing different flowers apart, and I'm just going to show you how I do it. You can get these on Amazon or you can dry your own. And then you sort of push it down into the resin so it's covered up. If a little of it isn't covered in resin, that's fine, because we still have to put a collar resin on top of that. I was trying to use the rest of these flowers in here because I'd had it for a while and I'd already used the rest of them that came with it. And these little molds, you can make so many earrings on just a tiny little bit of flowers, especially when you're tearing them into pieces. So it doesn't require a lot of materials to make these, but they always turn out so cute. So here I'm just taking one of these flowers that was already broken a little bit, and I'm just going to tear the little petals off of there and add them into the mold just like that. Using a toothpick makes it easier. And you can use different collars and mix and match however you think will look cute. For the backs of these earrings, they're all going to be a white collar. So also keep in mind what collar you're using when you're doing these earrings. And this process of putting all the flowers and items into the molds is what takes the longest. And it could take you a good hour or so to get all these filled up. So I decided to go ahead and add some purple ones to this green. I think purple and green together are really cute. And you don't want to completely fill it up. Just put enough to where it's going to look cute with the white background behind it. And you can see why I said it takes a little bit to fill them all up. So here's where I'll show you later in the video what I mean, but I made a mistake because I used these white leaves knowing I was going to use a white background. I don't know what I was thinking. I just was thinking I needed to use this flower, but you can't hardly see it because of the white background I put on it. So there was a couple of this made about 2 pairs of earrings with these leaves, and there's a couple of pair that I didn't really like because you can't really tell the white on white apart from each other. And if you're having trouble picking something up, you can get a little resin on your toothpick and then try it that way, and that helps a lot. Now these blue leaves turned out really nice with the white background. They really stood out. Same type of flower, but the different color makes all the difference. And I chose these for the shape because it's an oval shape and I thought they fit quite nicely in there. It didn't really want to go back into that resin. See how that air bubble popped up under that? That's why I'm trying to push it down a little bit, because those air bubbles will get stuck in front of there and it'll ruin your earring. So pushing that can kind of push those bubbles up to the surface. So here's just some different colored foil, and I'm going to tear it into pieces, and I'm going to add it just in the bottom of these squares. So keep in mind you're going to have that white background, so you'll be able to see through the top clear part, but then these the foil flakes, they you won't be able to really see through them that much. So it'll be really pretty. It'll be like this different colored foil with the white background. And you'll see the result in the end. I use this foil for a lot of my projects. I love how it looks in resin. I also decided to do some of the foil in the little dots on the little drops on the top there. And now we're just going to be adding different flowers. There's purple and white. Again, I used white, but you can't tell as bad in these as you could the white leaves that I did earlier. So I'm just tearing them to make them fit into the molds. Sometimes a heavier flower is a little harder to get it to stick to the toothpick. If it has a stem, cut enough of the stem off so that it will fit into your mold. And they're really tiny flowers, and they make a really cute earring and a stud. So there's also, in those packs I showed you earlier, come some of these flowers, and these make a beautiful flower in the little squares, or make a beautiful earring in the little squares down there. And even if they're not exactly the same color, I still think it makes a cute pair of earrings if they're close enough and they complement each other. So, same type of flower, except this time I'm going to show you what happens if you go ahead and tear the petals off of it. So instead of making one earring out of it, if you have like smaller molds, you can tear it apart like this and use those petals, and it makes a beautiful earring. And it's a great way, especially if you don't have a good enough matching collar flower. Say you only have one of them, you can get a good use out of it this way. And I love the way the petals look. I feel like they're just more flowy than some of the other petals, and they make a pretty earring. So here's some of these. It also comes in a pack, and you want to put them face down since the bottom of this mold is going to be the front of your earring. Put them face down and just kind of shove them down into the resin. And later on, we're going to put the white on top there. Okay, so I love these. They make the earrings sparkle, and they're super easy to use. I just drop the toothpick in the resin, and it picks up a ton of these. So it's a very quick process. If you are getting a little bit tired of what you're doing and you just want to get done, you can make some of them with these, and you can get them done rather quickly. You can see how much faster it is than using the petals. And I love all the colors. You can put different colors or just use the same. However you want to do it. They're both cute. And they have like a shimmer. They kind of remind me of like mermaid earrings. I like to use some of my dangle molds with these as well. And this is like a type of glitter, but they're like little flake pieces. And they're kind of the same as the other, except they're very thin and translucent. And they make a beautiful, like shimmery earring. But they also are a lot faster than using the petals. You just use the same process. Get some resin on your toothpick, and it picks it up, and you can just dab it right in that resin. So it goes super fast. And you can see how many you can get done very quickly. At this point, we've almost filled all of these little tiny molds, so we'll move on to the next step. Once you fill these all up, you need to let it set overnight at least, and then you could put your collar on top. So it's definitely a multi-step process. So this is what they look like. They're going to dry overnight, and then we'll come back and put the collar on the top of them. And they're going to turn out so cute. Okay, so I've already mixed up some white resin, and I'm going to fill the rest of the mold with this white. And you don't want to overfill it, try to just get it enough to where it's right at the top of that mold. Because you don't want it to have like a dome shape where because on the white parts where we're going to be putting the earrings stud on. So you don't want to have like a dome shape. You want it to be flat. So and this definitely goes a lot faster than when you're filling them with flowers and stuff. But it still takes time. And again, the dropper will be your friend. You definitely want this for this project because these are so tiny. You can see the tip of my dropper is almost the same size as some of these molds. So it definitely comes in handy. When you've done that, you're going to leave it set for overnight again. And now it's time to demold some of these. This is one of my favorite parts because you get to see what it looks like on the other side. So looks like those are the gold fake jewels. And then another bigger gold fake jewel. And a pro tip, when you are demolding these, if you can, try to keep them in their pairs. Because when you're going farther along in the process, there's so many little earrings floating around that it can get very confusing and more time consuming trying to figure out what goes with what. And when you are filling these with your flowers and stuff, you're usually making sure the one next to it, it mostly matches. So if you just take them out and lay them wherever you want, it's going to be hard to match them later on. It's just easier if you lay them side by side when you're demolding them and putting the backs on them. So there's some of those little shiny glitters. And then there's some more of those. And I did do quite a few different colors of those. And then that's those glitter flakes. See how it just has a nice shimmer to them? There's one with the flower in it. That's so pretty. I love how that flower takes up almost the entire square, so it just makes it even prettier. Okay, here's some on this side. There's a little tiny flower. Now it didn't stay right in the middle, but it's still cute and I'll still use it. It has character. See, now this is that white leaf. That's where I made my mistake. It just doesn't look right because you can't really tell what's in it. It matches the back. Then here's where we put those tiny little petals together that we tore off. And those are nice. And then there's some just random petals torn up in different sizes. And there's the two flowers. See, the white showed up better in that one, but it's more because it's a cream white than just white. There's more flower petals. Do you see how many earrings this makes? So here is that blue leaf. Look how much better that turned out. And there's another little flower. Now here's where we did that gold foil, or the foil pieces, and I really love how those turned out. More flower petals. Look at all these earrings we made just from those two molds. They all have different unique character traits. It's just, I love how these turn out, and I do them in packs of 3. So when I sell them, I try to kind of find 3 that go together well, and I do it based on size and shape, and I do it in sets of 3, and that's how I sell mine. So these packs of studs, you can actually get these on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. And they're different sizes, and you'll need different sizes depending on what size stud you're using, or size earring you're using. And you'll need some toothpicks, and you'll need the UV resin. I get this big thing on Amazon. You just need a place where you can put your UV resin. I'm just going to use this plastic bag that I had from something that I'm done with. And then you're going to dip the stud Well, first find out if it's the correct size for what you're using. And you're just going to dip it very lightly in this UV resin. Put it right in the middle of the back of your stud. And put it under the UV light. And let it set. And then we have to do another process. So I've done all these. And I'm letting them sit under the UV light for just a minute because we're actually going to continue this process. I use this toothpick to paint on the resin all along the back and make it even, and you put it on the top of that, and that's really going to secure that stud on top of your earring for you, so you won't have to worry about that falling off, and you know you're selling a sturdy product. Just dipping it in and putting it on isn't good enough in my opinion. This is really going to secure it. And then you're going to want to put it under the UV light for about 4 to 5 minutes just to make sure it's really on there. And then once you do that with all of them, which it really does take a long time, then you're going to put it on your, if you're selling them, you're going to put them on your cards, your display cards. I found these on Amazon. I love them because you can sell them in packs of 3. And I like to put the biggest earring on the bottom, like I just did. And then find a medium-sized earring for the middle. And just kind of make sure they are having the same theme. At least that's what I like to do. And then find a smaller one for the top. So here's one of those really tiny ones from the very top of that mold. Those are really hard to get the backs on, by the way, because they're really tiny and they don't really want to stand upright. So you kind of have to hold them to set them under the UV light instead of setting them on the ground or on the table. So there's one complete set. And then here we'll do another one. Again, we're putting that biggest one on the bottom. And once you do enough of these, you get really fast at it. Everything comes easier with time, I say. So here's this square with that flower in it. And I'm putting it in the middle just because I feel like it looks nice because it's a contrast against those ovals. And then a smaller one on top. We'll do these cute little triangles. And I think the triangles turn out cute. When I first did one, I was wondering if they would be cute enough to sell. But I do like them. I like them, especially if you're not displaying them like right as a triangle. Like if you kind of angle them like this, I think it gives a little extra something to the packaging. Okay, put your big one on the bottom. Here is a gray leaf. I don't think I showed you me putting this in there, but it's like a gray, and I think it kind of turned out cute against that white background. I like neutral colors though. I always think they're fun to play with. Then we're going to do the gold foil leaf. And a small one on the top. The gray, gold, and the pink, I think, go well together. And sometimes when you're at the very end, you only have a few different types of earrings left, and you'll think, that doesn't really go well with this set. So you can always pick one from your sets that you've already done and do some switches if you have to at the end so that you could make them all look nice. At the end, I've had it where I'll have like 3 tiny earrings left, and I'm like, well, that won't look good. So then I have to do some switching around on my other cards I've already finished. I love how these big flowers turned out in those squares. I hope this is inspiring you to go out and buy these molds and make your own. You could do so many different variations of these earrings, and there's so many things that you can, any type of tiny little thing you could put in these and make so many different cute options. So I hope you go try to make your own. And let me know if you do and how it turns out in the comments, please. So look at all of these beautiful sets of earrings. I forget exactly how many it made, let's see, 6, 12, 18, 21. It at least made like 24 sets, because I think there's even like 4 sets of them that I'm not showing you because it didn't look nice in the picture. So it makes quite a lot of earrings. And I think they turned out beautiful. If you like this video, please subscribe.